The lady next door brought him homemade chicken soup every week to build up his strength. He found it too greasy, so he poured it out for a stray cat instead. But 3 months later, that scrawny little cat started blowing up in size, and its fur gradually turned pure white. The neighbors all started whispering about it. At first he brushed it off thinking it was just normal, but in just half a year, that fat cat managed to bend his steel security door out of shape. By the time a year passed, it weighed a whopping 300 pounds. Freaked out, he finally called the cops for help. When the animal expert laid eyes on the beast, his face went pale and he stammered, "This is a purebred white tiger, a species thought extinct for 99 years. What exactly have you done?" He had found this stray cat about a year ago, and named it Soup Bones, because it only ever ate the soup and meat scraps the neighbor brought. One day there was a knock on his door. When he opened it, there was the lady from downstairs, all smiles, holding a thermos that reeked of chicken soup. She announced, "Xiaojiang just finished making this chicken soup, drink it while it's hot." He looked at the thermos thinking, oh great, not her again. He said, "Thanks Andy, really you shouldn't have." But she just pushed the thermos into his hands, saying, "Nonsense, you live alone and eat takeout every day, that's no good. Auntie made this special for you, all the goodness is in there." He had no choice but to take it. She instructed, "Make sure you finish it, I'll come get the container tomorrow." Satisfied, she turned and left. He closed the door and set the thermos on the table. When he popped the lid, a thick layer of yellow grease floated on top. Seeing that, his stomach churned. He picked up the thermos and headed for the balcony. In the corner sat an old bowl, and a tiny scrawny orange tabby was curled up next to it. Hearing him, it looked up, so he poured the soup into the bowl. Dark chunks of meat and the greasy yellow broth quickly filled it up. The tabby stood up and sniffed at it carefully, then started lapping it up slowly. After that, she kept bringing soup 3 times a week for 2 whole months. He had refused countless times at first, saying his stomach was sensitive and he couldn't handle greasy food. But the well-meaning lady insisted black bone chicken was best for digestion. So eventually he just gave up arguing. But the cat was acting weird. After 2 months of nutrient-rich soup, it still looked skinny as ever, never gaining an ounce. Then out of nowhere, after 3 months, everything changed. Its size started ballooning out of control. It wasn't that scrawny tabby anymore. Its body stretched out, its legs got thick and powerful. Its orange fur fell out in patches, and the new fur coming in was pure white, with just a few orange stripes left on its back. It moved with a powerful grace, leaping up onto the balcony railing. It didn't look like a cat anymore, more like a small panther. Even its cry wasn't the meow of a kitten. From that day he started watching it closely, and noticed it was eating way more. The thermos of soup that used to last a day was now gone in 1 meal. After eating, it would just lie on the balcony and sleep, and when it woke up, it paced back and forth in the cramped space. The neighbors started talking to, "Hey Xiaojiang, what are you raising on your balcony? It's growing like crazy." He mumbled something about it being a stray he found. They'd asked, "That cat looks special, what breed is it? What are you feeding it?" He would just smile and stay quiet. He could hardly say he was feeding it black bone chicken soup. Today she showed up with her thermos again. "Xiaojiang, open up." He braced himself and opened the door, trying one last time. He said, "I really can't lately, I've got a stomach bug." Her smile faltered for a second. Her eyes darted past him, trying to peek inside. She said, "That's exactly why you need to build yourself back up." And she shoved the thermos at him again. "Come on, would Auntie ever steer you wrong?" He caught a stronger smell coming from the soup. Something else mixed in besides just chicken. After he shut the door, a loud crash came from the balcony. He rushed over and found the wooden post that Soup Bones used as a scratching post had been split clean in half by one swipe of its paw. It stood on the wreckage and looked back at him. Its eyes had turned an icy blue. The last traces of orange on its back were gone. It was over 3 feet long and pure muscle. This was definitely not a cat. He nearly dropped the thermos. What the hell had he been raising? But 6 months later, things had spiraled way out of control. When it sprawled out in the living room, he had to squeeze sideways to get between it and the couch. It had claimed his living room as its new hangout spot. The heavy-duty leather couch he bought was shredded with deep claw marks. The scariest part was the front door. One morning he went out to take out the trash, and it must have thought he was locking it inside. It got agitated and followed him. Right as he was closing the door, it shoved against it with its body, and the heavy steel door actually bulged outward. He started to get scared it might hurt him. Luckily it was still gentle with him. It would rub its massive head against his leg, purring like a tractor engine. Soon the neighbors downstairs started complaining about hearing strange animal roars in the middle of the night, and heavy footsteps thumping on the ceiling. Building management called him 3 times. He just kept apologizing. The worst part was the soup lady still came by. Now she brought the biggest thermos she could find. "Xiaojiang, you look pale lately. Auntie added something special to this batch." The strong funky smell made his hands shake. He was too scared to feed it anymore. But if he didn't, it got agitated and rammed its head against the wall, or started clawing the couch to shreds. So he forced himself to pour out that weird smelling soup for it. It would wolf it down happily. Then one day he came home from work. It walked up to him and stopped, and opened its mouth. He saw rows of teeth like daggers. It yawned, and a hot blast of air hit his face. The blood drained from his body. This couldn't go on. His apartment couldn't contain it anymore. Slowly he pulled out his phone. He had to call the authorities. With shaking fingers he unlocked the screen. The call connected quickly. "Hello, I need to report an incident." A calm female voice answered. "Sir, please state your location and describe the situation." "Hello, I need help. I'm at apartment 201, building 12, Riverside Garden. What is the emergency?" He stared at the massive white beast before him. Hearing him speak, it tilted its huge head, its ice blue eyes full of confusion. What was he supposed to say? That he had a 300-pound cat in his apartment? Or that he accidentally fed a stray cat until it turned into a wild beast? He took a deep breath. There's a large animal in my apartment. It's huge and looks very aggressive. There was a 2-second silence. Sir, please ensure your own safety. Find a secure room and lock yourself in. We are dispatching units immediately. He hung up and slowly backed into the bedroom. 10 minutes felt like an eternity. Finally the knock came. Not the gentle tap of the soup lady, but sharp and firm. With an unmistakable authority, he pulled open the bedroom door. The beast in the living room stood up, staring warily at the front door, a low growl rumbling in its throat. Stay quiet, it looked at him, and amazingly it actually fell silent. He went to the door and looked through the peephole. 2 young officers stood right outside. When he opened the door, one of them said, "Where is the large animal you reported?" His eyes scanned past him, sweeping the living room, then his face froze. Both of these seasoned officers wore the exact same stunned expression. The lead officer raised his radio. "Dispatch, this is Riverside Garden requesting backup. We have a suspected large wild cat on scene. Situation is critical. Contact the zoo and wildlife authorities immediately." Watching them treat this like a major crisis, he suddenly realized how much trouble he was in. Within half an hour, his doorway had turned into a command post. Over a dozen heavily armed tactical officers formed a semicircle in front of his apartment. The hallway was packed with people, including curious neighbors. Everyone was held back by the police tape, craning their necks and whispering. The only one missing was the soup lady. 2 officers pulled him aside to the stairwell landing. An older officer was taking his statement. "So you're saying this wild animal is something you found a year ago? A stray cat, and you fed it black-bone chicken soup?" His face was a mix of disbelief, like he was hearing a fairy tale. "So," he repeated it, "the lady downstairs gave me black-bone chicken soup. I thought it was too greasy, so I gave it to the cat." Just then, a group of people in white lab coats, carrying cases, hurried over looking frantic.